Hey everyone, blessings. I am so super excited to announce a small shift in my channel. And of course, I'll still be vlogging and showing you the beauty of Rwanda and of Africa on a whole. However, I am going to be starting a new playlist that will be entitled Strategically Small. And on this playlist, I'm going to focus on gaining more from life by living with less, okay? Now, on this playlist, we will discuss the importance of downsizing, saving money, living simply, minimally in a society that promotes the exact opposite. Okay? Now, you may be asking yourself, well, why is this important? Why do I care? It's important because we're living in times where everything is unpredictable, including your job. Your job is unpredictable, your paycheck is unpredictable, your freedom is unpredictable, your movement is unpredictable, as we have seen with the pandemic. So by living small, living simply, reducing your debt, eventually becoming debt-free, which then increases your savings, so then you can buy investments. All of this will lead to a more fulfilling, happy life that not only is stress-free, but provides you with financial freedom so that when these unexpected events happen, such as the pandemic, you will not be in a situation where you are having financial troubles. You can break out of your 9 to 5, you can then invest, you can buy assets, you can buy things cash, and you can pursue things in life that you are actually truly interested in, rather than doing something at a 9 to 5 that you really don't like, that you actually hate. So, as many of you may know, I recently moved from the US to Rwanda in March 2021. And one of the main ways that allowed me to do this was by living strategically small, okay? Now, this was highly intentional on my end, and I did this over the last decade. I've been living strategically small. So in this introduction video, I'm going to discuss the mindset of living small, simply, and how it can literally change the direction of your life. So by way of example, in the US, the last place I lived in was about 650 square feet, okay? Now, this is very, very tiny for the US, okay? Now, I don't know about you, but I am obsessed with tiny houses. I think it's very sustainable, it's financially responsible, it's environmentally friendly. I love everything about tiny houses. And the definition of a tiny house in the US is something that is 500 square feet and under, okay? So technically, even though I was in a small space, it was not tiny by definition, right? So, however, moving here, I wanted to embark on a new challenge. Even though I was already in a small space, I wanted to do research and find if a small space where I can move into here that would actually be a tiny space, okay, for many reasons. Now, I was able to find something. I recently purchased a studio that in Rwanda, they do square meters, so it's 33 square meters. And when I did the conversion, that is about 355 square feet. So that definitely falls now within that definition of tiny housing. And you may be looking at me like, well, why would you want to go even smaller? My friends always looked at me like I was crazy in the US, like you're already in a tiny space. I thought it was way too tiny. So why would I go even smaller? Okay, well, there's many reasons. Number one, it's more affordable if you buy something that's smaller. So the price point is more attractive. That's number one. Number two, because the price point is smaller, it allows you to use funds for other things, okay? Rather than getting a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, you can utilize the funds that you would have put towards that to other things, such as starting a business and doing other things, right? But I also am very intrigued by the challenge of seeing how I will survive in this small space. I've never lived in a space this small ever in my life before. So I am very excited to see how I'm going to do. Everything is in one room. It's a studio, so everything is in that one room. So I'm going to take you on that journey with me to show you how I'm going to sort of become very inventive with the furniture, how I will do the closet and all of that, so you can see how it's possible, if you're interested in that, to live in a space that is that small size. All right. Now, I have to say it's very important to me because without living intentionally small over the last decade, I would never have been able to make this move to Rwanda. So that's why I'm truly excited about it. I am not saying that I am an expert. I'm not a financial guru or anything like that. I'm just telling you what has worked for me personally over the last 10 years and why I now have found myself to be living on a continent that has brought me so much joy and happiness. And I would not have been able to do this without living strategically small. So in this video, I'm going to start just introducing a few points for your consideration, but I want this platform to be very collaborative. So I'm looking forward to questions, your feedback. I'm also interested in learning more information. So I'm excited to get started. So let's jump in. So first and foremost, minimalism is a mindset. And I want to use minimalism very lightly because we can be very divisive here on the internet by saying, well, if you're a minimalist, you have to do X, Y, Z. Minimalism, I'm just using as a term of living intentionally small with less. Okay, so that's the general definition. Now, it takes intentional thought to break away from the society norms of the bigger, the better, right? That's what we've been taught since we were babies. We've been taught we need more toys so that we have more things than our friends. And it has carried throughout our lives through adulthood. Now, especially in the US, I don't know, depending on where you live, but especially in the US, bigger and better is the way of life, okay? We want more expensive cars. We want bigger homes that are more expensive. We want more salary on our job so that we can project this expensive lifestyle. However, when the research, most of the research, if you look at it, you'll see that typically people that make more money, they are still living beyond their means, meaning they are spending more than what they're making because they are just projecting a lifestyle. They're not actually investing and being financially studious with the money. So capitalism is ingrained in our society, which is definitely a problem, okay? In capitalism, everything is financed, okay? Meaning everything down to your vehicle. Most people, they don't own their vehicle. They have a car note that they have to pay every month. And unfortunately, the car note is usually a couple $100s, and then you have your insurance that you're paying on your vehicle. Most people, they are renting, and if they own a home, they don't own it. They've taken out a loan on it that usually is 30 years. Some people have 15-year loans, and then they refinance and the clock starts over again. So capitalism is a cycle of keeping you in debt at all times, okay? Not only when you're spending your money, if you're going out to eat, you're using credit. All of this funnels into keeping you in the cycle of debt. All right. These societal norms, coupled with the lack of financial education in school. Now, I can only speak on the U.S. education, but the U.S. education, there is a major gap in financial education. We did not learn much of anything about finances, how to balance a checkbook, how to manage money, how to invest, how to manage assets. None of that we learned in school. So there is a lack of financial education that especially once you hit college, at least for me personally, as soon as I hit college, I was receiving all sorts of applications for credit cards, signing up for this, signing up for that. And of course, as a college student, you're like, oh, this is fantastic. Of course, you want a credit card so you can buy whatever you want, clothing and food and shoes and all that. So from an early age, they get you locked and trapped into this cycle of debt. And capitalism is like the core of the US society, which for me is very problematic. All right. Now, unfortunately, I can say I know many elderly people who are now retired, some who are retired, some who cannot retire because they can't afford to retire. They still have to pay their mortgage every month. They have to pay their car note every month. They have to pay off their credit cards. So some people are actually physically not able to, or financially not able to retire. And other people who have retired but are struggling because they are not debt free. So they still have all of those things that they have to pay, and Social Security only gives you a little bit. So they now have to figure out how are they going to pay their bills every month now that they are no longer working. And it's very stressful. Very, very stressful. So again, I'm not saying that I am a financial expert by any means, because I'm not. But I do like to read and learn information, and I do like to share the knowledge that I know. All right. So unfortunately, many people are still slave to the assets that they have accumulated through the years. And those assets are not theirs because they are financed. Okay. So they don't own them outright. And this is the problem. So we have to ask ourselves, what have we been taught about capitalism and finances, and why do we just unconsciously conform and accept these societal standards, okay? Why is that? Why is the whole world working on the same debt cycle where everyone is living the same pattern and no one is snapping out of it, okay? We have to ask ourselves, is this something that you want to do for the rest of your life? Or do you want to now shift your mindset so that you can create a different path for yourself and create a path of financial freedom and happiness, right? Now, recently I was reading some articles, and I also watched a CNBC documentary that stated that Finland and Denmark have once again topped the United Nations most prestigious index, which is the World Happiness Report. Okay. Now, I wasn't aware there was something called the World Happiness Report, but this was very interesting. So what makes these countries different? Okay. They're saying that the people that live in Finland and in Denmark are the happiest people out of all of the other nations and countries on the planet. Okay. Now, Finland and Denmark are not the richest countries in the world by far. They are not. However, they believe that you do not have to be super rich in order to reach happiness, right? Happiness is satisfaction with the way one's life is going, not about how much money you make or how many assets you have, all right? Finland also provides generous parental leave, 10 months of paid parental leave, okay? They also have great unemployment benefits. They have free education, and the free education also includes free university. And on top of that, they have free healthcare, okay? So all of those points combined leads to the citizens living in Finland being much happier than people that are living in other countries, okay? By way of example and comparison, US, there is no free healthcare. We do not have great parental leave. All of these things do not exist in other countries. This is unique to Finland, okay? So also in Finland, they mentioned there's no super wealthy, and there's also not a lot of poverty. So there's a good middle class that is the majority of the population, all right? Now, I brought up Finland just by way of example. Of course, there's a lot of governmental benefits that makes living in that country easier to be happy, right? However, I do like the concept, the underlying concept that By living with less, that also leads to happiness, right? Because again, this country is not the richest and the people there live simply, right? They are satisfied with what they have. So here at Strategically Small, the mindset that I am encouraging you to adopt is one that is intentional, thoughtful, and it would lead to strategic living. Everything that we have and every action that we engage in must have purpose behind it that actually adds value to our lives, okay? By owning less, it frees us to do more in life, okay? And not only to do more, but to do more of the things that we actually love and enjoy. When we have less bills to pay, when we have less expenses, all of that leads to freedom that allows us to pursue things that actually bring us joy and happiness, right? So I'm looking forward so much to this series, to see what you have to say, to allow it to be a collaborative platform. Because again, I am no expert, but I'm interested to see what you have to say. I, of course, will take you along the journey to come with me to the studio. You'll see my new living space, see how I'm able to adjust to living in such a tiny space. But I want us to grow together as a community as we discuss the benefits of downsizing, living small, strategically small, and how we can implement this in our daily lives. But this is something that is very fundamental, very integral to my life. And over the last 10 years, I have seen the benefits firsthand. So I'm super thrilled to introduce this series to you. And of course, I have not forgotten about the vlogs. The vlogs will still be coming on a regular basis, and this will be just a separate playlist series that you can check out as well. So I hope you gained a little bit of information by way of background about this series, and I'm so looking forward to your feedback. So don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. And let's grow, downsize, and become strategically small together. I am looking forward to it. Be blessed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.